You probably know that EA have added some of the smallest and worst nations in the world to FC25. You can now scout places like Sri Lanka, San Marino and Somalia, but let's be honest, you probably can't name a footballer who represented any of these countries. But today, that's going to change, because I'm going to create a team using the 10 worst teams in the world, and we won't stop until the team wins a trophy. It might not be the Champions League, it definitely won't be the World Cup, but any trophy is good enough for these guys. So where can we scout? For this video, I'll only use players who represent teams ranked lower than 200 in the FIFA World Rankings. That gives us these 11 nations, and annoyingly 8 of them aren't actually scoutable in the new system. It won't just be academy players we're using today, we've actually got 5 real players who we can sign to, but first we need to pick a club, and I think I found the ideal one. There's only one manager from one of these 9 nations that you can pick, and it's Mario Frick from Liechtenstein. He manages Luzern in Switzerland, a team with a hilariously ugly set of kits, but also enough money for us to grab some good youth scouts. So, can we actually win a trophy? To do that, we'll need to build a squad, and here's our first attempt. Claudio Camarnacht is our star player. He was born in Germany, he's played for Dresden and Freiburg, but now he plays for Sri Lanka. He's a decent midfielder, and we also have Sam Durant and Jack Hingert, who are representing the 200th ranked team, Sri Lanka. Somalia's Bilal Ng is rapid, but can't really do too much else. He'll probably be our striker, and any lack of technical skill means we're basically forced to play on the counter-attack. Finally, we have Felix Oberwaditsa, who's not only our lowest rated player, but also the coolest name in the squad. He's the only Liechtensteiner on FC25, he's 51 rated, but does actually have a decent amount of potential. We're going to have to fill the rest of this squad with academy players, and that gives us this squad. The second worst team in the league averages about 67 overall, meanwhile we're well under 60, so this is going to be quite tough. I know we'll never win the league with this team, but there's no reason our trophy can't be a fluke win of the Swiss Cup just because of how small the competition is. In the past, Luzern have deservedly won 3 times, and the whole objective of this video is to try and get a 4th. Because there's only 12 teams in Switzerland, we actually go straight in the first round of 4, meaning we're just 3 wins from a final. As he was one of our former players, I've also replicated the great Ottmar Hitzfeld 3-4-1-2 formation that he used to win the Champions League with Dortmund back in 1997, and it's time to kick off our first game. So, of course, in this video we're going to be using simulation gameplay, which includes wind effects and weather effects, and we're going to find out what rain matches are like in this first match against Servette. I am not expecting much from this team. As you've seen, the overall ratings are so low. Our goalkeeper's actually just 35 overall. Servette are one of the 5 best teams in Switzerland, but we actually have a pretty good start. However, when you see things like that, it's pretty obvious that Hingert is probably not going to be in our team for much longer. I mean, another good example of our level is that our goalkeeper is also our best free kick taker, and that's the ability of our fullback at crossing the ball. If that was anywhere near our striker, that's a guaranteed goal, but unfortunately for us, it just goes out for a throw-in. Ng is by far our best player, and I think the injury took a little bit off his pace, otherwise he would have burst past the defence, and we probably would have gone 1-0 up right there. Because he's injured, we bring on a 49 rated Sri Lankan striker. As a striker, he says that he's a false 9, but I think he can barely kick a ball, let alone play like Lionel Messi. The further into this match we go, the more I'm thinking that maybe we do actually have a chance of getting the win. However, Servette would get 1-on-1 and finally just smash it straight past Ali. Simulation gameplay makes playing with some of these really slow players really tough. Playing in the rain seems to make everything even more slow. So when Ali rolls it out here for a counter-attack, I wasn't expecting much. Ulrich played through Durant, and look at this race. They're barely jogging, the ball stops for a full couple of seconds, and if we were a bit more lucky, we could have won a penalty. Instead, we're out of the cup. Well, the first year was never going to be easy, and thankfully we've not got sacked, and we'll get a year to develop our team. You might have actually noticed I even forgot to scout a goalkeeper. Well, we'll use all of our money on scouts, we'll come back stronger next year, and hopefully we'll have a player that can afford to buy goalkeeping gloves. Okay, so time for Season 2 and Attempt 2 at the Swiss Cup. Our team has been on development plans for the entire year, and other than Jack Hingert, it's definitely improved. Camarnacht has now become a top Swiss League midfielder. G has rounded his game out a little bit more and is now actually able to shoot, and some of our academy players have actually learnt how to kick a football. We've also found a fullback from San Marino that has potential to be better than Hakimi, Trent and Carvajal. He's currently growing by about 1 overall every month, so he'll be in our first team as soon as he hits 16. Anyway, you might notice we've not actually been drawn to any team in the cup, and that's really good news. And instead of going in the first round, we've been given a bye straight into the second round, which is the quarter-final. We've not even pressed continue once, and we've already got further than we did last year. Just before we play the game against FC Zurich, we actually found our first £1 million academy player too. Somalian and 62 rated. He means our team has gone from this to this since our last Swiss Cup match. Anyway, yet again, it's kickoff time. There's no way you can look at our squad and not be a lot more confident about our run in year 2. Some of our players have gone up by 3 or 4 points, other positions like goalkeeper have gone up from 25 to 60, and that is going to make a massive difference. This guy right here is one of our most unique players. Lassith Diaz not only looks very strange, he's also our chief playmaker, and he played through Ng into the box, and finally, we score our first goal with this ridiculously bad squad. Ng has so much pace that his finishing doesn't really matter. He always has enough room around him to take a little bit longer and just make sure you can finesse it into the corner. The biggest change though, as I mentioned before, was now having a goalkeeper. Our Sri Lankan Silva made 2 great saves, and even though his goalkeeping diving stat is only 17, he would then also stop another 2 chances just a few seconds later. So that's 4 saves for our goalkeeper that I don't think Ali, who was really an attacking midfielder playing in goal, I don't think he would have done any of them. Anyway, Ng would get a second goal. It's another similar finish where he just sprints past the defender and slots it into the top corner. This seemed to really annoy Zurich because they got a red card and we would get one more chance with Ng. He brought it down under control perfectly and gets his hat-trick. This feels like a totally different team to the first season. Not only can our players now run, a lot of them can also pass, and 1 or 2 of them can actually dribble. This makes me feel a lot more confident about our semi-final match, and we're about to find out who we're going to be playing against. I like a lot of things about career mode this year, but some of the academy players are just really hard to take seriously. Have you noticed Lassith Diaz's face when I've subbed him on or been using him? He's the Sri Lankan that spawned with blue hair. I've never ever seen a human that looks like this guy, and hopefully I never will. Anyway, because we've now qualified for the semi-final, we've been drawn against Winterthur, the only team that are anywhere near as bad as us in the Swiss league. I mentioned it earlier that there's 12 teams in Switzerland, and this is actually 11th place against 12th place in the semi-final of the cup. Not only am I a bit confused about how we got here, but it's also quite impressive that Winterthur, controlled by an AI manager, have also managed to do this. I have to say, this was the game where I started to see how players can feel a little bit more unique on FC 25. For example, our goalkeeper is absolutely amazing. Anything you hit at him, he will palm it out for a corner. He just doesn't do rebound goals. If you can get Ng into any kind of space, he is just going to sprint into it because he's so much faster than any Swiss league defender. And I also learned that Martinelli is absolutely useless at everything. Not only does he have the Akinfenwa build, but also his miss meant that Winterthur were actually going ahead rather than equalising. One of my favourite players is this guy right here, Ahmed, the £1 million academy player, and that is why he has such a high valuation. Sure, power shots are a little bit overpowered on FC 25, but now we were just a single goal away from the Swiss Cup final. Silva was doing everything at the back, trying to keep out Winterthur. We couldn't afford to make a single mistake, so it was so annoying when Kamenak would just control the ball for the striker, and he would put Winterthur 2-1 up. Still, we could get an equaliser, but Fofana ended any hopes of us getting to the final this year with a pretty nice finish. The game would end, we were out in the semi-final, but I think we can go further next year. Well, we've definitely improved, but still couldn't quite get over the line. The final probably would have been an easier game too, but we're going to go again. Another year of development, another year of scouting players, and hopefully we can make at least the final in year 3. Okay, let's start attempt number 3. There's no bye round this year, so we've got to play Zurich, the same team we beat 3-0 last year, in the first of 4 rounds. We've promoted a few new players, and Jack Hingert has retired as a 49 rated 35-year-old, meaning player development does seem quite brutal for older players on FC25. Anyway, before we play this game, let's just quickly compare our first season squad with the one that we have right now. This time the game is away in Zurich, which is about a 45-minute drive from Lucerne. It's basically a home fixture, so let's go on and try to win this. So, it's pretty obvious that our team has improved over the past 12 months, and I'm hoping that FC Zurich haven't actually improved too much. We have the exact players to hurt them, one of them is NG, and it was so annoying that that didn't fly past the goalkeeper. Still, we recycled the ball with Martinelli, and Ahmed burst from midfield. That again would have been a really nice goal. He's such a good player, Ahmed. And to be honest, I've actually started quite liking using Martinelli as well. It's hard to describe how he feels, but just imagine a really slow version of Ibrahimovic without any skill moves. He's built like Ibrahimovic, he looks a little bit like Ibrahimovic, but unfortunately his passing isn't quite as good, because Njai would have been through if he'd just played it a little bit quicker. Diaz would start this move before the ball would find its way to Njai. He would cut inside, and that would be a chance that if he could shoot, he would definitely have scored. We got the cross back in, but it's just hoofed away by FC Zurich. We were on fire, we were making so many chances, and we did get the ball in the back of the net, but it was quite obviously offside, so I'm not too sure why Njai is complaining about that one. Just before half time, we had another chance. Njai playing it to Martinelli, but he didn't trust his pace enough, so he waited for Njai. Njai did have the pace, got into the box, and toe poked it past the goalkeeper, meaning yet again, we were 1-0 up against FC Zurich. This was our most dominant performance by so much. We had 7 shots to their 0, and we were really feeling quite confident that we could go through here. When Njai put us 2-0 up as well, I'm sure every single person in the stadium was expecting Lucerne to be in the quarter-finals next year. If we could just win this one, 3 more after that, we have finally got that trophy. Anyway, you can't count out Zurich. They've got this guy up front, Lewis Morgan, and we made a silly challenge there with Kamenakt. Yet another mistake from our highest rated player and captain that would put Zurich back in the game. It took them 60 minutes to have their first shot, but they would have their second just before 75. Again, we nearly gave away another penalty. They would get the ball out wide. Morgan would be crossing it in this time, and the shot would go over the bar. 10 minutes to go, Morgan would get into the box again. Emmanuel would find a really nice pass, and then Morgan would beat Silva. There's nothing the goalkeeper can do about that one. That's hit so hard, and this one is going to extra time. So we had 7 shots in the first half. I think if we look at the stats quickly right now, we actually only had 1 more shot to their 3 in the second half, so momentum had totally switched from Lucerne to FC Zurich. It continued as well, our goalkeeper making a save that would go out for a corner, but that just gave us the chance to counterattack. Ali, who was our goalkeeper in that first match in Season 1, would play it through to Durant, and he would fight for the ball, and he would beat Fiorini. As he ran towards the box, I didn't know what kind of finish to do. We didn't chip it, we didn't finesse it, we just blasted it past the goalkeeper, and now we just had to hold on for 20 more minutes. In the very last minute, we had to make 1 more defensive action, and Fontana would just about get there, and also fight for the rebound, and that would be a 3-2 win. In between the first round and the quarter-final, our team just kept getting better. Kamenekt looks like he's going to hit 70 before the semi-final. Ahmed and Ng are both at 66s, and our fullbacks are improving like 1 rating every single month. Hopefully this is going to be enough to beat FC Sion, although our team ratings aren't actually that different anymore. I'm giving Fiori his debut because Martinelli is probably our worst and least fun player to use, but can he score in his first game? It would really help us, and let's find out. While I compared Martinelli to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Fiori is definitely more like a Griezmann type striker. He's got a playstyle for finesse shots and his favourite role is as a false 9, but we're actually putting him as a poacher because we can't move Ng out of the advanced forward role. He just makes too many chances, but this game actually barely had any. We actually only had 1 in the first half, and our first chance in the second half was a powerful header. I still don't know how he beat both defenders to actually make it to that, but with a vertical reach of 2 meters 12, that is an absolutely huge leap for someone with like 65 jumping. With the players we've got on the pitch, I think we actually have a decent chance of keeping the ball and playing some good possession. And I mean, look at Fiori right there, flicking it up and volleying it. Sure, it missed by a decent amount, but that would have been a really nice goal. compared to the team we were using in that first match 2 seasons ago, this team is so much better to use. Like I said before, we can run, we can tackle, we can pass, and we can dribble. But we also still rely on Silva to save us at least 2 or 3 times in every single match. Somehow though, we held on with a 1-0 win, and we are through to a semi-final for the 2nd year in a row. Right, so not only did we win and get back-to-back semi-finals, but the 2 best teams in Switzerland, which is Young Boys and FC Basel, both lost their games. This has to be our best chance to reach the final, and who knows, maybe somehow we can win this cup. I think we're going to start Fiori again, but he's not actually scored in the cup or in the 10 league games since he made his debut. Maybe the semi-final is the time that he finally does. I hadn't actually seen who Yverdon had beaten in the quarter-final, and it was Young Boys indeed, so they were the best team in the league, and they've been beaten by this team. So that isn't giving me a huge amount of hope that we're going to make it to the final. Still, even if we don't make it to the final this year, I think our team's just going to keep improving, and Season 4 could finally be our year. Njai doesn't want to wait another season for the final though, and he was so up for this match. We had a first shot there within 10 minutes, and our blue-haired Diaz would play him the ball where he would try and do a power shot, and it's another good save there from the Yverdon goalkeeper. From the corner, out of absolutely nowhere, Oba Waditsa would do an overhead bicycle kick. I know I've mentioned Ibrahimovic a couple of times in this video already, but that was prime Zlatan from our centre-back that's like 59 rated. We've gone ahead in the semi-final with a goal that had a 0 XG chance. Absolutely a crazy goal, and by far the best goal we've scored in this video so far. Yverdon are one of those annoying teams that just try and keep possession as much as they can. They would do a few shots from outside the box, maybe try and score from a set piece, but in the first half, we were absolutely on top of them. Our defending was solid, and Fiori yet again showing some of his technical brilliance there with a few kick-ups and another decent shot on goal. Even though he hasn't scored, he has given a pretty decent performance, and if he could get a second assist here, that would make it even better. Of course, Njai does not miss a one-on-one. He is absolutely cold, and the celebration is spot on from what we wanted. Look at this, he doesn't even look at the goal, eyes on the ball, straight past the goalkeeper, and we're 2-0 up. With just a few seconds to go, we see the ball out of play. The referee confirms we are in to the final. I feel like we deserved that win, even though Yverdon had 75% possession and completed nearly 3 times more passes than us. In the other game, Lausanne had won 4-2, so the final was actually going to be way harder than the semi-final. It was a team we'd never beaten in the league, we'd never come across in the cup, and they were absolutely huge favourites. Sure, we did get a little bit of confidence from seeing who'd win the Champions League, with Newcastle United somehow beating PSG in that final, so maybe this is the year of the underdog. We decided to bring Martinelli back in for Fiori because we were probably going to need a goal more than we were going to need a little bit of creativity. Still, this was not a game I was expecting to win, and I think we'd be happy if this one could go to extra time. We were playing, of course, on legendary difficulty, just like we have been for this entire video. And to be honest, the first time I saw the Swiss Cup was also the first time I didn't really want to win it. One ugly trophy, but we had the highest score in this tournament. We had a decent bit of momentum because we were in the relegation group, but we had won 2 or 3 games in a row. And so we did have at least a tiny chance of winning this match. It didn't matter if it was easy or spectacular, any kind of goal would have been good enough for us. So that bicycle kick would have absolutely been amazing. Esposito, our wing back from San Marino, would try and play it into Njai, but this time he couldn't outjump the 2 defenders. Lausanne Sport played a gegenpress style, and you could tell because their pressing was absolutely amazing. If I had the ball, they were going to try and win it back within a couple of seconds, and we were absolutely relying on our defence and our goalkeeper to try and keep us in this game and hope for some kind of Njai counter-attack. And Silva was doing exactly that. The first half was absolutely the Silva show. It didn't matter what kind of shot they would try and do. He would be the man on the spot to either put them off or just straight up catch the ball. We did force a couple of mistakes like this one right here. Fontana, our right back, couldn't quite get it across to Martinelli, otherwise that would have been an easy tap-in just before half-time. But still, I would have definitely taken 0-0 at half-time because it means we can bring on some of our better players in the second half and go for the win. You could also feel that Lausanne were trying to go for the win as well. Just after half-time, they had their best chance yet, and it was another great save from Silva. But Njai would also give us our best chance, and with our first real shot on goal, we have smashed it straight into the corner. He's got 5 goals in this tournament this year. The next best striker has only 2. That's how much we've relied on Njai. We can't really rely on Martinelli because, I mean, look at that lack of pace. But he has got determination and he would win us the ball back quite high. Esposito can actually cross and Njai can jump, but unfortunately the combination didn't quite come off this time. We were slowly running down the clock. We weren't passing it around the back or anything, but we weren't rushing forwards with the ball either. All we had to do was try and hold on for another 10-15 minutes, and then maybe we could pass it around the back for the last 5. But Silva, yet again, would be the man to rescue us in the 72nd minute. Ibrahim would play through Njai, and this would be one of his last chances of the game. It was parried, and Martinelli reacted first, and somehow squeezed it past Letitia in the Lausanne Sport goal. No wonder he would celebrate, because that was such a hard goal to score on his weak foot. That was a pure Ibrahimovic moment from the San Marino striker. Still, Lausanne hadn't given up. They kept attacking. This was about their 15th shot of the game, where we've only had 2 or 3. They would finally get through our defence right here, and Adeggini wouldn't even pick up the ball because it was too late. He would just celebrate a goal in the final, and that was actually something that gave me a huge amount of hope. They knew there wasn't enough time for them to get the ball. We passed it back to Polly, someone who's played in every single game since we signed him, and Luzerne had won the cup. Finally, we won a trophy using just the worst nations on earth. San Marino was a huge part of it, with most of our defence and also Martinelli and Fiori scoring a lot of our goals. Of course, Somalia contributed massively. They were both our midfielders and Njai. Sri Lanka, our goalkeeper, absolutely unreal, and we wouldn't have been in the final without our Liechtensteiner scoring an overhead kick. Every single nation contributed to this win, and that's why it feels so good. Let me know in the comments if you think I should try and win the Europa League or the Conference League with the same squad, and maybe I'll do that if this video can get to 2,000 likes. But thank you for watching, appreciate it, make sure you subscribe, I'll see you soon, cheers and goodbye.